news just in. You are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story, obviously calling our sources and trying to figure out exactly what happened, but clearly something relatively devastating happening this morning there on the south end of the island of Manhattan.
Look at least 3 sides of tower number 1, and that is the only building.
It's exploding right now, Tommy. We're seeing another
apparently
plane.
That was another plane.
There's another one. Take a look.
Oh!
my God! Oh, Jesus! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Another plane just went in. Another tower.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What's this other jet doing?
What the hell is that?
Holy fuck!
Oh my God! Oh my God! Jesus fucking Christ! Chris, are you
Don't touch it.
Oh my God!
moving primary, heading towards the White House. The White House has been advised.
All right, I'll tell them.
Change.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep you advised.
Thank you very much.
234-020, grab.
Hey, Tower, did you see that? Hello?
Crystal City, just north of Crystal City.
Just to the north of your tower.
Just get there.
Hear that?
Do you hear me?
Yeah, stop all departures.
Stop all.
Yeah, went in the Pentagon. Looks like it went in the Pentagon.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We're looking at a live picture from Washington, and there is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon. It would appear that there has been another major explosion, this one in the nation's capital. You are looking at a scene of apparent blast aftermath. There is smoke in the air over the Pentagon. We don't know whether this is the result of a bomb or whether it is yet another aircraft that has targeted a symbol of the United States power, but there is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon.
Chad, just, and if you don't know, just say you don't know. Can you recall a situation where every airport in the country had been shut down?
Absolutely not, except in wartime, of course, Aaron, and obviously this is not that. But with all the airports, as they were going down from west to east, we could see them, and then we could eventually see from New York, and then they canceled Boston as we got the report that the first flight, or one of the possible hijack flights, did come out of Boston, and then it just started going down from there. But never, ever before have we ever seen all of the airports shut down like this, not this quickly.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I told you I wasn't going to make it. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Yep. Oh Lord. That's the third. Down it went. The building just fell.
against the Sears Tower, but they're obviously going to quit while they're ahead there. And all of this.
Oh my God!
Engine 101, did it crash over there in the Pentagon? Is that correct?
Well, we're going to need confirmation on the location.
Engine 108, we have a report of a plane crash somewhere in the area of the Pentagon. We're trying to get further. I need you to go over to 1 David.
Responding to 1 David. Confirm plane down. 14th Street Bridge area. 101 on, can we fog go down?
Engine 101, fog go down.
105 is on the scene. I have a plan. Report. The Pentagon. Everybody.
There's only one story this morning, only one image. Reflecting the stunned incomprehension, commuters gazed at TV screens as the scenes were carried round the world. Some of it turned into hysteria. But there were measured tones from the BBC.
Doomsday in Manhattan, the terrorist apocalypse.
World leaders were steadfast in their support. Germany's Gerhard Schröder said the attacks were a declaration of war. Cuban President Fidel Castro, an old enemy of the United States, expressed his solidarity and condolences. Britain's leader was all-embracing.
This is not a battle between the United States of America and terrorism, but between the free and democratic world and terrorism. We therefore here in Britain stand shoulder to shoulder with our American friends in this hour of tragedy. And we, like them, will not rest until this evil is driven from our world.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shattered steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans. Our military is powerful, and it's prepared. Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts. Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The functions of our government continue without interruption. Federal agencies in Washington, which had to be evacuated today, are reopening for essential personnel tonight and will be open for business tomorrow. Our financial institutions remain strong, and the American economy will be open for business as well. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance. America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so this time. None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you. Good night, and God bless America.
The North Atlantic Council met tonight to express its solidarity with the United States of America at this moment of great tragedy and mourning. Our deepest sympathy lies with the victims, their families, and all Americans. The NATO nations unanimously condemn these barbaric acts committed against a NATO member state. The mindless slaughter of so many innocent civilians is an unacceptable act of violence without precedent in the modern era. It underscores the urgency of intensifying the battle against terrorism, a battle that the NATO countries, indeed all civilized nations, must win. All allies stand united in their determination to combat this scourge. At this critical moment, the United States can rely on its 18 allies in North America and Europe for both assistance and for support. NATO solidarity remains the essence of our alliance. Our message to the people of the United States is that we are with you. Our message to those who perpetrated these unspeakable crimes is equally clear. You will not get away with it. On September the 12th, the North Atlantic Council met again in response to the appalling attacks perpetrated yesterday against the United States of America. The Council agreed that if it is determined that this attack was directed from abroad against the United States, it shall be regarded as an action covered by Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, which states that an armed attack against one or more of the Allies in Europe or in North America shall be considered an attack against them all. The commitment to collective self-defense, embodied in the Washington Treaty, was first entered into in circumstances very different from those that exist now, but it remains no less valid and no less essential today in a world subject to the scourge of international terrorism. Article 5 of the Washington Treaty stipulates that in the event of attacks falling within its purview, each ally will assist the party that has been attacked by taking such action as it deems necessary. Accordingly, the United States NATO allies stand ready to provide the assistance that may be required as a consequence of these acts of barbarism. In accordance with Article 5, Paragraph 2 of the Washington Treaty, I will be this evening informing the Secretary General of the United Nations, in the spirit of Article 5 of the Washington Treaty and consistent with Article 51 of the UN Charter, that this statement has been passed by the North Atlantic Council. Thank you very much. This morning, the United States briefed the North Atlantic Council on the results of their investigation into who was responsible for the horrific terrorist attacks which took place on the 11th of September. The briefing addressed the events of 11th September themselves, the results of the investigation so far, what is known about Osama bin Laden and the Al-Qaeda organization and their involvement in the attacks and in previous terrorist activity, and the links between Al-Qaeda and the Taliban regime in Afghanistan. The facts are clear and compelling. The information presented points conclusively to an Al-Qaeda role in the 11th of September attacks. We know that the individuals who carried out these attacks were part of the worldwide terrorist network, Al-Qaeda, headed by Osama bin Laden and his key lieutenants, and protected by the Taliban. On the basis of this briefing, it has now been determined that the attack against the United States of America on the 11th of September was directed from abroad and shall therefore be regarded as an action covered by Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, which states that an armed attack on one or more of the Allies in Europe or North America shall be considered as an attack against them all. I want to reiterate yet again today that the United States of America can rely on the full support of its 18 NATO allies in the campaign against international terrorism.
And to continue, here is something visually which we've been talking about in our coverage earlier today, which I must tell you we were really looking forward to. We saw a report earlier today that at Buckingham Palace in London, where Queen Elizabeth II lives when she is in London, the Coldstream Guards, who change the guard, not the Coldstream Guards, but they change the guard every day at Buckingham Palace, as we know, and we are told that at the request of the Queen, the Coldstream Guards band played the Star-Spangled Banner. Let's listen. Whew.
I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn. This nation stands with the good people of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon. The nation sends its love and compassion to everybody who is here. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for making the nation proud. And may God bless America.